Hello, and welcome to Explore That Career. Today we'll be talking about elementary school teaching and everything that goes into being a teacher, mostly focusing on the job itself rather than the schooling that goes behind it. But I chose this job for this episode because I've always been curious about the work that goes into being that favorite teacher that everyone had growing up. And I love kids, so I'm not surprised that I'm drawn to the idea of being a teacher for kids at such a young age. But personally, I had a few teachers growing up that I thought were amazing and had always had the most fun plans, and then I had the teachers I didn't like as much, and I never really knew why I liked some teachers way more than the other. Well, after reading the article Learning and Teaching in Primary Schools Today by Dennis Hayes, I found that many of the techniques those teachers used that I liked were aimed to grab our attention. And also just seem fun. And so I always knew that teachers had these lesson plans, but what I really found out through this article that lesson plans are simply just the outline that these teachers have to create. A plan, and in the article it states, a plan is merely a piece of paper outlining the lesson framework and providing reminders about the things for teachers to say and do, as it's such an art and can only be brought to life when its content is put into practice. So basically what I learned here is by following these outlines, they accomplish what they needed to be covered by their syllabus or, the milestones that need to be covered for these kids to learn what they need to learn at this age. But how they do that is completely up to the teacher, which is where many can differ from being fun to boring, doing hands-on activities versus, watching videos, that kind of thing. By having their attention in this way, it allows for the students to focus more on the actual work and the lessons rather than being disruptive. And as kids are more engaged there's going to be less disruptions in the classroom, overall more productive classroom, and that the material is remembered easier. But not only are these kids engaged by the teacher or the activity, but it's also the setup of the classroom that has a big impact on the kids wanting to even be in that room. Because at this young of an age, a lot of colors, a lot of, fun things to touch, anything like that is what really draws a student into the room and really being open to learning. Hayes also states, a stuffy classroom generally drab in appearance is unlikely to inspire and motivate either adults or pupils. Again, an overbearing teacher who insists on rigid obedience and long periods of silence can hardly be surprised if pupils become unresponsive or show little initiative. So basically, kids make the assumptions on classes as simple as a look in the classroom. The classroom and the teacher go hand in hand, which kind of one affects the other. So during an interview I did with Katie Pomeroy, who is an elementary school teacher for St. Mary's School, I was able to ask her what kind of people should be going to be teachers. Because, I believe it takes a certain type of person to be a teacher, but I wasn't really sure until I did my research and talked to Katie herself. She replied to me that someone with a lot of patience and is willing to go the extra mile to make sure they do their job to the best of their ability. You have to be extremely level-headed and probably shouldn't be stress-prone to be in this job. So with that, I can see why these are important characteristics, but how are you supposed to deal with these stresses of constantly being in charge when you have a sea of children? Just because you aren't really stress prone doesn't mean the job can't be stressful. And so with that, I went and found an article called Sources of Stress for Teachers Working in Private Elementary Schools and the Method of Coping with Stress by Bahari Aden. Where they explain that many of the stress these teachers get comes from different sources, even outside factors that I wouldn't even expect. So she states, according to findings obtained from qualitative research, issues that teachers experience stress are originating from school faculties, school administration, lack of supervision, the teaching profession itself, low social status, or from other colleagues, the students themselves, from the parents, the school boards, administratives, And also, not having the right funding or supplies to do their lesson plans right, basically. Um, but she states that the methods of coping with stress for teachers are looking at things from the positive side and spending time with beloved ones and creating an environment with them, talking with people whom they trust, spending time for hobbies, using relaxation techniques, and forgetting reasons about stress. So basically, to me, spending time with loved ones seems like a simple fix for something in a job that can be so stressful. Um, which is why when I went back to my interview with Katie Pomeroy, I asked her really how much time as a teacher at this level do you actually get with free time, and to do your hobbies and stuff like that and spend with loved ones. And she replied, well, my weekdays are pretty full, but I normally have my weekends off to spend how I like. I also get holidays off, so I'm never an issue getting off for those. The school I am with is flexible with sick days, but I know others can't be as much. And depending on if you want to teach summer school, you can have summers off as well. So to me, it seems that stress can be very manageable with the amount of free time that they get, especially at this level when you don't have those papers, those gradings that you have post class. Really, it's just going home, creating your lesson plan more so than taking your work home with you in the fact of grading. So with my research, I was able to conclude that there's really a specific kind of person that should be teaching at such a young age, that should be teaching children at such a young age. Being creative and engaging and know how to manage time and stress are all very big parts of this job. But you also have to have your heart in the job and truly want to help these kids. Otherwise, lesson plans will lack and it'll be hard to succeed at the job. So that was my research that I had on this job. Overall, I think, I'd still be very interested in pursuing a career like this. I think it would be great to help kids at this age. And yeah, thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you next episode.